July 5th, 2015, I was involved in a 911 distress call to a residence that was familiar to police. We went in. Turns out that he had doused the entire house with gasoline. When I was about 5 feet from him, he decided to ignite the house on fire, blowing everybody up inside. From that, I suffered from 3rd and 4th degree burns to 62% of my body.
Traumatic stress is something that in our culture we are exposed to more often than the general citizen. And in fact, it's the risk of these exposures to mental health for us, and it's the type of exposure, and it's also the frequency of these exposures. It also means that something has been going on for at least the past 6 months, and a lot of it has to happen for PTSD to actually develop.
It wasn't until I started having thoughts of suicide that I broke down to my wife.
Depression, anxiety, ADD, ADHD, head injuries. There are a host of disorders that have the same symptoms of PTSD but are not PTSD. The problem with misdiagnosis or the thought that one suffers from PTSD is it creates panic. And in our profession, we have enough to worry about without thinking, oh, now I have a mental health disorder.
I was one of the main paramedics in 2012 at a Travelodge double murder call in the city of Barrie. The murderer was my patient, and I developed what's called a moral injury. I'd never heard of what a moral injury was before. I wasn't able to see happiness in life anymore, and that turned my world very dark, and I tried to mask that with addiction to alcohol and prescription drugs.
We have a list of professionals that have been vetted by first responders, and we can provide our members with one that is best suited for them, and certainly what's more convenient for where they live.
Signs and symptoms of PTSD: nightmares, flashbacks, anger, drifting off all of a sudden, alcohol abuse, drug abuse. So if you see one of your fellow officers or a friend that's starting to act a little differently, or they don't seem on their game, ask them. They might say that they're okay, because that is the common response, because we don't want to burden other people. But if you know that they're not, be their friend and keep the conversations going.